in a life. Sorry for being late. A very good morning to all my friends. Let's begin the Hindu analysis. Myself Amit from Plutus IAS, and let's begin it for 3rd of October 2020. So let's begin with first section of the day, which is from Gandhiji thought of the day. So Gandhiji says that without action we aren't going anywhere. So whatever we decide, whatever we want to do in life, the first thing we need is to take a step. Even Neil Armstrong, when he reached on moon, he said that his first step on moon is a giant leap of mankind. Giant leap of mankind. Okay, so first step is need to be taken. When we take the first step, then only, because taking first step takes 50% of the efforts, and rest becomes a momentum. So action on your thought is very much important. If we are thinking that we have to crack UPSC, only thinking won't work. We have to study. We have to put in number of hours. We have to make effort, and that effort only could make us succeed. Not even not only UPSC, but in any other field of life, in any other aspect of life, it's only the action, the effort that we make can only make us to reach our goal, to reach our destination. That's the point of Mr. Gandhi. Okay, so action is very much important. We might not be taking the right action, because direction is not one the beginners can decide. But the first thing is we need to take action. Then only we can later come to know that whether we decided right or wrong. Okay, so take your decisions, take action, and then take action to make your decisions right. Okay. Let's move on towards the first section, first news of the day, friends. Today we have no such a significant date, so we skip that section today. So we are directly starting with our editorial section, which is a very good article on UNCBD. So recently, this convention on biological diversity held on 30th of September. Though its center point was in New York, but it was a kind of virtual summit. Okay, so coming to it, as the UN Summit on Biodiversity convened on September 30 in the midst of global crisis. I hope that you all remember I have very well explained you about the UNCBD. Okay, UNCBD, and those who haven't been told about this would come across it in upcoming classes. Okay, we will see the HE targets under UNCBD, the Cartagena Protocol. Okay, the Cartagena Protocol, the Nagoya Protocol. We will see all of this. For now, you only need to know that UNCBD is all about Convention for Conservation of Biological Diversity. It all started with the Rio Declaration of 1992, along with other two, UNCCD and the UNFCCC. So the main purpose of UNCBD is to conserve the biological diversity on Earth and make use of these resources in sustainable manner. Okay. So now coming to the topic here, news. So presently we are suffering from a global crisis, which is because of this coronavirus. So this coronavirus has hurt the efforts which were going on for preservation or conservation of this biological diversity. So the whole thing is all about that in New York, when this summit was held, the member nation said that the conservation target decided a decade ago in 2010 in Japan to be achieved by 2020 have been spectacularly failed now. So now they have to decide for a new course of action. So let's see what reports suggest how is this failed. Okay, so the UN Global Biodiversity Outlook 5 report recently released says that none of the 20 targets decided as under this HE target have been fully met. Okay, though India has achieved two of them. One is HE 11, 5% of area under protection forest or protection areas. Okay, so this is protected area based conservation of animal. India has achieved this target. Coming to this, that many countries have chosen to ignore these targets because they are suffering from pandemic. They have to focus on economy, so they are compromising on their environmental need for their economic prosperity, the so-called economic prosperity for short term, because in long-term sustainable prosperity can only occur when we are focusing on both economy and environment. Okay, so the thing is that they are depleting their ecological capital in pursuit of financial prosperity. So they are kind of neglecting the biodiversity well-being. Among HE targets, those which are left wayside, far behind, are the reforms or phasing out of subsidies that erode the biodiversity. Often the governments give subsidies like water subsidy in India that really leads to eroding of biodiversity. So these were to be phased out, but this has not been done. Then steps for resource use within the safe ecological limits. So use under safe ecological limits have also not been there. We see that resource utilization is increasing at much faster rate than earlier after this coronavirus. Okay, preventing industrial fisheries from destroying threatened species and vulnerable ecosystem. This has also not been done. We have seen that trawlers are being used for the purpose of fishing. Okay, so sustainable fishing is yet to be achieved. We are still far behind the goal of sustainable fishing. And last one is an end to pollution, including growing plastic waste. And we all know that plastic is becoming a menace. Rather than solving the plastic waste, the problem of plastic waste, we are increasing it, and it is increasing to the condition that artificial islands have been created in the world oceans, okay, of plastic. And these artificial floating plastic islands are becoming a menace for aquatic life, and they are now entering the food chains. So the problems are kind of multiplying. They are becoming manifold. Okay. But one bright spot has also been there in this HE target, which is partial progress made in this protecting surface, subsurface, inland and coastal marine areas. So we have done some kind of efforts in protecting our this aquatic region, but this is only a very slightest of success. The WWF World Living Planet Index report suggests that the points to the decline in vertebrate population, a key indicator, by 68% over 1970 level. You can see the vertebrate population of the fauna has been declined by 68%. This is a huge loss for such an important class of animals, right? So biodiversity loss, because loss of these umbrella species would definitely lead to loss of an entire ecosystem. So we need to protect our biodiversity in the key species, okay, so that these kind of trends could be reversed. So now what is needed is that 196 CBD member countries should come ahead. They should now chart a green course of action. So and it should be aligned with the Paris Agreement, so that overall environmental sustainability could be achieved, right? Which can have a significant impact on the health of flora and fauna. So India in this summit has put its message of ancient conservation tradition that we already have, and we are proud to have this. We are among the mega diverse countries of the world. Okay, and we have done a great task in managing our biodiversity. We are people who worship animals. Okay, like cow, even the tiger, they are being worshipped in different parts of India. Animism is a culture, and this shows that we people are very much aware towards the conservation. But yes, still a lot of work has to be done in India also, because we have restricted our species to the protected area, and the biosphere reserves creation is not taken place to that extent that was required. Okay, coming to the national laws of 1970s and 80s, they have indeed shielded our islands of biodiversity. We are talking about the 5% of the area that we have achieved and designated as protected area in the country. Okay, and they are today seen as irritants to speedy extraction of natural resources. So this is the problem that is coming ahead. Recently, we have seen this problem of new draft EIA, which allows for easy access to these protected areas. Then the government went for allowing no-go areas. no-go areas. Okay, no-go areas. Coal mining was allowed in no-go areas. And then we have seen that Bagjan oil field where the clearances were given, but they were not have the proper procedures were not followed, because in Bagjan field it was located near the national park. Today also I will tell you about two things, that the leopard guidelines have been there in the state of Karnataka, where three times actually the capturing and translocation was to be limited, but it has increased rather by three times after coming of guidelines. So this is failure of policy implementation. Okay, and this leads to biodiversity loss because of the loss of habitat. The second thing I will tell you about Andhra Pradesh government giving land, 4 hectare land as per family as promised under Forest Right Act. Though this Forest Right Act provides this land right for the tribal is a very good case, but such giving of land to people in forest protected areas would later amount to creating man-animal conflict. So it should be done with the proper policy guidelines. Otherwise, this may increase the problem of biodiversity conservation. Okay. So we have seen that EIA norms have been diluted, or they are about to be diluted, and there is little concern for indigenous communities, those tribal etc. living with the kind of fostered relationship with the biodiversity, and no effort has been made to increase these kind of strong partnership, so that we can have proper human and animal harmony relationship rather than conflict which is creating on. Okay, this article creates a lot of points. Okay, a lot of points are there around which you can take data, because this UN Global Diversity Outlook report is good data. Then this WWF Living Planet Index report is very good data. Okay, then you can give this 5% data of India age under age 11 target. Then you can utilize this last plan of action, the plan of action of the UN CBD countries. So what the CBD countries are now trying to do, they are going to finalize new targets next year. Okay, next year, and India too has this opportunity to gain this trajectory of green growth. So they have to decide on clean energy. In this task, India's solar energy mission and International Solar Alliance could help. Then ecological agriculture, sustainable agriculture is very much important. Then freeze on the expansion of mining and dam building, which is creating havoc on the environmental ecology. Okay, and then the resource recovery from the waste. So waste production has been increased, whether it is plastic waste, e-waste, or any other kind of waste. The waste production has been increased multiple. It has multiplied over the time. Okay, so we need to extract as much as from the resource so that resource use efficiency could be improved. Okay, and yes, we can go for the circular economy where the resource utilization could be done again and again. So the 4R principles can be followed, right? Then regeneration of arid lands. So we should also care for the land. We should go for reducing the trend of degradation of land. Okay, so this degradation and increasing aridity would lead to impact the food security of the world. So we need to follow this LDN, land degradation neutrality target, by 2030 of UNCCD, an organization formed alongside with this UNCBD in 1992. That's it for the topic, friend. Next one we are moving ahead is the next topic. Yes, the next topic is about those two things that I told you, that recently this leopard capture and translocation has increased threefold rather than decreasing, despite being the policy guidelines brought out by the government of India to mitigate the human leopard conflict, which came in 2011, and first time state of Karnataka implemented them. But the proper implementation in the state of Karnataka has been missing. Okay, a study conducted across the state of Karnataka indicates that despite there being policy guidelines from the government to mitigate this human leopard conflict and discourage the translocation of animals so that they can live in their native environment, it has not been implemented or has very little impact on the ground. It says that the number of leopards captured and per month increased from 1.5 to 4.6, and also the number of leopards translocated has been increased from 1 to 3.5 per month. So this capture and translocation is mainly done to national parks, tiger reserve like Bandipur, Nagar, Ole, Kaveri Wildlife Sanctuary of the Karnataka. But the thing is, we are moving them from their native place to some kind of artificial restricted zones, which if you know that the tiger reserves in India, they are already full up to their density because of the presence of these tigers. Okay, so introducing new cats in these areas could create more tussle between these cats. We are also planning to introduce cheetahs in the Mysuru area. Okay, in the Mysuru Zoo. So things are, if we want to introduce new species or we want to translocate them, we should have proper plan. Proper rehabilitation should be done. Otherwise, we could end up kind of creating zones of with very high animal density, where they won't be able to sustain for long. Okay, so to create this sustainability, they should be allowed to live in their native areas. This guideline was released in April 2011 by the central government. Okay, and it had its ways of handling emergency conflict situations also. But recently published report which says that evaluation policy on ground action evaluating conflict policy guideline for leopards in India, published in Journal of International Wildlife and Policy, shows that this implementation is quite lacking. Okay, they say that the translocation 59% is in national parks or tiger reserve or state minor forest. And the primary reason, though eight reason has been pointed out by this report for the capture and translocation, the primary reason is being the livestock depredation. Okay, they do not have proper amount of prey or food. So the main thing is that we can arrange it, right? We can arrange for the praise. Then that would help them in living in harmony, because ecosystem works as a whole. It is actually a system as a whole. If we remove one or two organs of this ecosystem, it would lack its capacity to function as a self-sustainable unit. So the overall entire thing is we need to have this system in its entirety. So this kind of translocation should be avoided as far as possible. Now this thing, Andhra Pradesh government giving pattas to tribals. So this is kind of very progressive step because the tribals are in need, and especially in these kind of backward areas like in tribal areas of Andhra Pradesh, the tribals definitely need some kind of land in their name so that they can live on it. They can grow their food. And 4 hectares of land has been promised under the Forest Right Act of 2006. So recently, the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Mr. Mr. Reddy, YS Jaganmohan Reddy, has decided to give 1.8 lakh hectares of land to the tribal scheduled tribes under Forest Right Act of 2006 in Srikakulam district. Okay, so Andhra Pradesh is kind of first such state to do so. But the problem arises when where this land is to be allotted, and to what extent, and what should be the identification, what should be the criteria for identification of beneficiaries. Okay, this should have a proper framework. Sorry, because proper framework can only ensure that tribals are living in harmony with the animals nearby. Otherwise, this would further lead to encroachment to the protected areas that we have created. And also, this land is only to be allocated in buffer zones. Okay, buffer zones or outside the core areas. Okay, so we hope that this will lead to the good of both men and the animals, flora and fauna. Okay. So coming to new topic, next topic, which is about Smithy Irani addresses the UN General Assembly. So here, one thing that I want to tell you, the Beijing Declaration. Do write it somewhere that Beijing Declaration is related to safety of women and child. Okay, it is basically related to safety and security of women, the rights of women and children. You can simply write it, rights of women and children. So this is important. It has been asked. The Beijing Declaration has been asked in UPSC. Okay, so do write it. It was signed in, I think, way back in 1995 somewhere. Okay. So recently she addressed Union Minister of Women and Child Development, Smithy Irani. She addressed the United Nations General Assembly, saying that India has done a lot and India has quite great achievements now in terms of gender equality. But Okay, so first let me tell you the positive story, but there is quite a negative story too. So she says that accelerating the realization of gender equality and empowerment of all women and girls is their main motto, and India has done in past by developing many legislations. Okay, we have developed a paradigm shift from women's development to women-led development. Okay, yes, we have done this to a quite extent. Okay, because today we have around 27% of the female labor force participation rate. Okay, so this shows that yes, we have done a significant amount of progress, but a quite long road is yet to be covered. Okay, so see, several legislations like Sexual Harassment of the Women at Workplace 2013 Act. Then there is promotion of women from protection of women from domestic violence. So there has been this Domestic Violence Act. Okay, then Dowry Act has been there for protection of women. Then protection of children from sexual offences. POSCO Act has been there. Okay, POSCO Act created. Okay, then they have been created and they have become strong enablers of women empowerment and protection of children, especially in past 6 years. Okay, this is political statement. And then the government of India took a series of measures for ensuring safety and security for the well-being of women, especially during this COVID-19. You all might have heard about the reports that during this lockdown, this domestic violence, this crimes of domestic violence has increased. Okay, because of both men and women living at home, so they whatever what happened because in patriarchal society we have the cases of the domestic violence have increased. Now, coming to see the next side of this topic. So, activists are unhappy. Okay, so why the activists are unhappy? Because she omitted in a speech about the divide in domestic violence, which is being there in Indian society, especially during this lockdown. So, these activists, and especially given this Hathras rape case, which recently happened, okay, and many other such cases which have come to news after this time. So we need to take care of this. We need also NCRB data shows that year on year the crime cases of criminal cases against women have been increasing. Okay, like last time they have increased, and maximum of such cases are in state of UP. So what we need to do, we need to check out the areas with high density of such crime, and we need to work out from them. Also, the activists suggest that education and quality curriculum to reduce these kind of retrograde thoughts of patriarchy and divide in society is the main should be the main motto of government, because working at the grassroots level, at the level of ideology, can only change the system. Okay, because we need to give them equal footage, equal platform to stand on. Then only women could lead to they can contribute to the growth and development of India. Okay, because women led empowerment is important for India now. You know, empowerment of women can only be achieved if they are giving independence to gain for themselves, self reliability for themselves, and then to contribute for the cause of nation. Okay, so yes, steps have been taken. Like recently, this they have been given permanent commission in Indian Army. Okay, so these kind of steps are very much important because they gives the dignity, the kind of pride that women can have for themselves. Okay, this gives them the image that they are no more inferior to men. Okay, Mr. Gandhi said that women are not inferior, rather they are superior to men because they work more than men. They are kind of a thread which holds their entire family. Okay, they gives value to your family. Okay, one more data that you can use in your answers is about the 4%. So this Swayam NGO, that Mr. Founder of Swayam NGO, he says that merely 4% of the budget has been allocated towards the services for empowerment of women and prevention of crime. So this is quite less. Okay, so this is to be increased so that the safety needs of the women could be provided. Okay. Now moving ahead, friends, next topic of the day. The next topic is related to hygiene and immunity survey. So, though this is not very important topic, but yes, kind of filling during, especially given this COVID-19 impact. So this can provide you fillers in your answers. Like recently, Godrej has conducted a survey called as Godrej Food Trends Report. So after this lockdown, the survey has found that people have changed their food habits, and now they are looking for long-term solutions that can incorporate both hygiene and health. Okay, now they are looking for both hygiene and health. Now they are looking into mindful food practices so that this food can improve their immunity. Immunity has been most searched for this food habits. Okay, food habits. Coming to primary concern, health and hygiene are the primary concerns of consumers today, and appliances which are being sought for are the fermentation and germination. So such kind of surveys, they help the local manufacturers, okay, appliance manufacturers like Godrej, to develop appliances for the need of people, especially the kitchen appliances or other such appliances, because Godrej is one such good company of India which is providing us with great appliances. Okay, and then disinfection devices are also being provided by these companies, and this report can be downloaded from this www.vikrolucina.com. Okay, so that's it for this report, just a filler. Now coming to next topic of the day, which is about good conduct is a key. So this is kind of ethical topic. I have taken this, though it is from paper two, but it can also be used in ethics. So this important kind of order from Supreme Court has come, because it says that good conduct is the key to early release. Supreme Court has said we only the jail term should not be the only factor in release. Okay, people could be released earlier if they have good conduct in jail. So this has a quite starking feature, because we all know that two-thirds of the prisoners of India today are under trials. So when they are even not given the proper trial, how we can release them? And Supreme Court has asked to release all the under trials who have covered more than half of their term, which they would have been allotted if they were found guilty or convicted, and still that has not been done by the state governments or the state judicial authorities or whatever. The reason for this all is the problem of pending cases, lethargy in our judicial and legal system, and the political will which is absent. So the overall thing, friends, here is, though the idea of Gandhi, punish the sin and not the sinner, is very much can be seen in this order of Supreme Court, which they have given. Okay, especially for the first time offenders. They say that the first time offenders ought to be liberally accorded a chance to repent their past and look forward, so that they can forget the sin, the crime, and can lead a new, normal, better life. Okay, so become a good citizen. So recently, a case appeared where the prisoner's plea was accepted by the Supreme Court, and they were kidnappers from Uttar Pradesh, and it was a kind of kidnapping ransom case, and the court ordered their release. The action of kidnapping was nothing but a fanciful attempt to procure easy money, for which they have learned a painful lesson, said the Supreme Court. And on these grounds, these prisoners have been released. So this has been a case of Uttar Pradesh, and you can use this example in your answers. Okay, when such kind of statement come, punish the sinner and not the sinner. Because simply what they can do, they can give the statement in paper of ethics, question mark, explain. So you have to write approx 10 marks. Okay, 10 marks, section A questions of UPSC ethics paper are there. So they can simply give this way. So you can use this example in such kind of questions. Okay, that's it for this one. Next topic is related to, friends, the next topic is related to, this is the last topic, friend, and here Mr. Elon Musk have promised that India is going to have Tesla now. Tesla is to enter Indian market next year. So he said, this is not the first time that the Tesla chief has hinted the entry into Indian market. He already did this last year, but now he is ready. Actually, he had a tweet last year that Indian government charges 100% duty on import vehicles. Okay, these import duties make their cars double the cost, and this is even for the electrical cars, which makes their car unaffordable. So now they have decided to enter Indian market, and one statement of his says that he's being maybe he's misinformed, that he was told that 30% of the part to be sourced locally and supply doesn't exist in India for these kind of vehicles right now. So see, the two things here are, one is the international investors, and the second is government of India. You can see his statement clearly shows that there is lack of clarity, and lack of mechanism to reduce this clarity. So this is the reason why the FDI chances are limited in India. Okay, it limits the prospects of FDI flows to India, because the investors, when they do not know, because lack of knowledge brings apprehension. Okay, so clear knowledge is very much important. India does not have any such kind of condition, says our Commerce and Industrial Ministry. He clarified that it wasn't accurate to say that foreign direct investment policy mandates any company to confirm any minimum sourcing of local component conditions. Okay, if it wanted to establish a manufacturing unit in India. So there is no such need. If he wants to establish a manufacturing unit in India, that is going to be a very good step. Not only for might be for the company, but it's also very good for country like India, because the e-vehicle is becoming the near future. So we have to invest in it. It can create a lakhs of job for India, and it can significantly reduce the amount of pollution that we are suffering from. Okay, so this can bring us a win-win situation, and it will also lead us kind of what we say propulsion of other activities. Okay, it can open the other allied areas, and can also lead to technology transfers or development of new such industries in India, which can even compete with Elon Musk in future. So the government should practically invite them, should provide them with better incentives, so that technology can come in India at its own. Okay, so such kind of foreign investments are very much important for India. So with this, I would like to say thank you, friends. I hope you enjoyed the session, and I hope I have contributed well to your knowledge today. Thank you, and have a nice day.